Hi there, I'm Katie Rose, and welcome to the Rooted Reinvention, a podcast exploring the real-world journey of reinventing who we are without burning out or burning our whole life down. I teach people how to make lasting change by melding my Masters of Neuroscience and my cognitive therapy qualification with common self-help tools, spiritual concepts, and my personal experience. Because being yourself doesn't need to feel so damn hard. To get more information on podcast episodes, please visit rootedreinvention.com/podcast. Okay, and I think we're live.
Ooh, look at us.
So today I'm interviewing the amazing, wondrous Leonie Dawson. Complete with swearing, you have been warned. Leonie is an international best-selling author, self-made multimillionaire, and online business mentor who I have been stalking since at least 2010. So firstly, thank you for taking time to chat with me at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh, you're a darling, Katie Rose. And what other time do I get to see your pretty face? Like, just talk to Americans and English people. Like, it's got to be at this very sweet spot where the sun is just rising.
And just setting with me.
Yeah, it's like the magic of the globe.
Definitely. So I have taken, I think, every single course you've ever offered. I joined you in the Goddess Circle before it was the Academy, all of that jazz. And still the most important lesson I've ever learned is to be a motherfucking zebra.
Yes.
Would you mind talking a little bit about that process?
Sure. Like, sometimes people say to me, like, oh, Leonie, like, how did you become so confident or like have so much self-love? And I'm like, I just don't understand why it's an anomaly. I don't understand why, like, none of us have it, because we are an animal and we are a mammal. And if you look in the animal kingdom, you don't see animals who are freaking out about the way that they look or like whether they're worthy of love. Like, take a zebra for an instance. Like, a zebra is not wandering around going, oh, if only this stripe on me was a little bit thinner, then I would be worthy and then I'd be loved. No, like, a zebra's like, I'm a motherfucking zebra. I'm going to eat this grass. I'm going to enjoy the sunlight. I'm just going to really be thrilled with like everything I've been offered today. Like, fuck yeah, this is a good life. And they kind of, like, all animals hold this energy. And I just don't think humans should be any different from that. And I think the signs that we, aren't like that, it's absolutely a man-made construct. It is like the signs of the patriarchy and the signs of capitalism. And I'm just like, no, you don't get to have residence in my head. You don't get to like intrude upon this glorious relationship I have with the motherfucking grass. Enjoy this scrumptious body I'm in and this scrumptious existence that I have, and be a motherfucking zebra.
So you heard it here first, folks. That was brilliant. And yeah, I still remember you saying, I'm a motherfucking magpie on one of your live calls, and thinking, they do sound like they're saying that, like they're so chattery.
They are loud motherfuckers. And like, I love, like, in Australia, we have particularly noisy birds. You'll probably hear some at some point if you haven't already. But my dad, the wild bushman, who is even more sweary than me, he went to New Zealand, and they have, which is, an island kind of 3 hours flight away from Australia, and they have quite a different biosphere than us. Like, they have different birds and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, Dad, how was New Zealand? And he was like, oh, just so beautiful. That they're birds, they're just so quiet, not these noisy motherfuckers. And I just wish he would be a travel guide. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to read a travel book written by my wild bushman father about the noisy motherfucker birds.
I think he could do a guest camo with, like, you know, David Attenborough or something on one of those. Be a brilliant
And
mix.
now we pass to the interesting specimen of a North Queensland 6th-generation cattle farmer to hear his thoughts on the cockatiel. I don't rate it that much, noisy motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think cockatiels are particularly sitting there going, "Oh, but I could sing, but I wish my singing voice was different. If only
Right?
I wasn't so noisy and didn't speak before I thought."
That's right. It's like, I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm here.
I love it. And I think it's so difficult to undo, kind of like you said, like it's the patriarchy, it's like the capitalism, the economy, the culture that we're in now. And how do we undo all of that conditioning? And that's one of the things I love about like cognitive therapy and things like that. And it's like, yeah, this thought you're having is not a fact. It's a thought that you've been like programmed to believe.
Mm.
And yeah, I guess that zebras aren't told like, oh, come on, you're not worth my time as they're growing up.
Well, this is true. And even if they did, they're like inaccurate. It's kind of like, I remember also in my childhood, like I'd hear stuff, you know, people would say things to me and I'd just go, that doesn't sound right. Nah, I am not installing that one. That's a bad idea. It's kind of like when I was 14, I was like, right, it's probably time I learn how to be a woman. And I like got this teen magazine which gave you like a weekly beauty routine, and I was like, oh, okay, set aside the afternoon on a weekend and we will do this. And I put like fucking a honey mask on and a deep mask in my hair and exfoliated, and the whole fucking process took like 3 hours. And when I'd finished, I looked exactly the fucking same, except I was a little bit sticky and a little bit more flushed. And I was like, what is the point? I could have just read a book. I could have just ridden my horse. I could have just made some art. I could have had a really great time. And instead, I was locked in a bathroom, putting shit on me. Like, I'm done with being a woman. And so that is kind of, those 3 hours are kind of the grand total experience of me attempting to, conform to like bullshit patriarchal beauty standards. So I haven't bothered since.
Yeah, and I love that story, and I think it says it all. I'm going to move on. That's done. Tick.
Tick.
But thinking about that though, one of the other things that I learned from you is that idea of, if you only had 2 hours a week, what would you be doing with it? And you often talk about this in business, like if you only had 5 hours a week, 2 hours a week, what would you do that would make you money? And I've taken that idea as like, what would if I apply this to my general energy, my general time, my general priorities around life? Because one of the things I think that we really struggle with is like being a co-creator in our life and being actively part of life. And I feel like you're active in your life. You're not sitting there watching it. And I think that's in the priorities that you put in. And I don't know if that's something that you thought about that in ways other than with money, or like, how do you separate like your priorities, I guess, and like put things in order, if that makes sense?
Well, so I tend to just go off fun. Like fun is a major driving factor in my life. Like, what's like fun? And fun, not like, party fun, but more like I could read a book fun. I could chill out on the couch for the rest of the day with my art journals and a massive pile of books and just meander from one interest to another in my head. And I've got 2 children, an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old. So, like I do have to like navigate around motherhood and wifehood and all that sort of stuff. But it's a priority for me, because if I don't, like, I'm going to feel fucking miserable. And not only will I feel miserable, but then I'll kind of be an asshole mom and a bitchy wife. And that's kind of going to damage all my relationships, not to mention my mental health. So, I just don't think I will. And so what it means as well is like, do I want like a perfectly clean house, or would I prefer to have hobbies? I'll have hobbies, thank you. Because it actually takes like quite a lot to have a perfectly clean house, when you could just have like an okay-ish house, you know what I mean? Like one that doesn't cause major diseases.
Yeah, don't look at my house right now.
just like, let's just look at our house. Like, this is just like a normal fucking house. You know what I mean? Like, I always appreciated, like, I remember going to my husband's cousin's place for the first time, and she was like, before you come in the door, I want you to know this is a family home. And so there's going to be shit everywhere. And that's the price that you pay for coming into my home. I'm not going to clean it up. If you'd like to come into my house, like, it's not going to be clean. So that's what we need to get straight. And it was just so free. You walk in and there's just like washing all over the table, and she's still in the middle of like cleaning out the kitchen and whatever else. And you're like, if you want to sit on the couch, you move shit to the side. And it's so homely. And I felt so at home. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm instituting this. This is a working home. This is not a display home. This is not a Pinterest home.
I love that you implement things that you see and actually you make it work for you. So I know that you also had an idea of like bedtime for your children, and it wasn't that they necessarily have to go to bed, but they have to be in their room doing creative things, not just taking in screens or whatever. And that I think you said you've still got an 11-year-old, and yet and you were even though the ages were different, you were looking at the same bedtime. Have I got that right?
Yeah, they're like, so my kids go to bed at 6:30. It's so great. Honestly, it is the greatest. And honestly, it's not like I don't get to spend time with them, because I do. I spend a shit ton of time with my kids. But it means that they go and they play together, in their rooms quietly. They read books, they listen to audiobooks. They're not allowed to like play with screens at all, but they just get to have kind of quiet time with their own souls and engage and like have that really important downtime. And I get to have some really quiet chill time in the evenings, and it's a beautiful thing. We all get to have our wells filled,
I love that idea as well, that it's not, having worked in family support previously, that it's not sort of a punishment. It's I'm teaching them to be with themselves and giving them space to be creative and to explore their own sort of company. And actually we're all refilling our wells so that we can give again tomorrow. I think that's a lovely way of like packaging that up.
Yeah, it's not like they're locked in their rooms. They still come out a million times to have a cup of water or whatever, and just like show me every single insect bite or little mark they've got. Like, Mom, I can't go to sleep because of this. I'm like, okay, how many band-aids do we need? Like, I always want a band-aid. Like, here's my best parenting tip: just like buy band-aids in bulk, like, because you're gonna need them.
It's a good tip. And I guess in that time, how much are you spending? So I guess one of the questions I always have is around creativity, and how much is refilling your well and how much is like being productive. And I say this as someone who recognizes that we have creative businesses, and therefore there is creativity in our businesses, but also there's creativity out of it. So when I think of art journaling, which I do, I don't make that part of my business, but I've also found that over time, I'm doing a million things and I'm ending up putting them in the business somewhere, because my business represents who I am and my whole. How do you kind of manage that sort of idea of like creativity and like whether it's separate or not?
Yeah. So firstly, like on weekends, I never work, and it's always like personal creativity on weekends. And at night times, it's kind of a mix of work, like weeknights. It's a mix of work creativity, if I feel like doing it, or just personal creativity with more art journaling and stuff. And I did find that because I stopped watching TV completely a few months ago, and I actually found that I started feeling like less creative, right? And so I actually kind of had to install some more TV watching time in. And I know that sounds completely counterintuitive to like all the creative advice out there, but in terms of like what you select to watch. So, like I watched Anne with Green Gables, which is just so beautiful. Like the new Anne with an E, like Netflix adaptation. And it's like the cinematography is just stunning. And then I watched some like comedy specials, and like it's just like exquisite the way that they create stuff. So I think like when you do it, like watching TV and movies mindfully, like it can be an enormous creative source. And I felt like really like filled up after that. So I'm going to like make sure that I have a bit more, like actually make sure I institute a little bit of TV watching time of really good quality stuff.
I love that though, because I'm a mindful TV watcher. So even as a kid, I would turn the TV on, I would watch Tom and Jerry, and I would turn it off again at the end of the episode, like unless Scooby-Doo was on next. But I literally would have like 2 TV programs that I watched, and then even growing up, I would turn the TV on, watch the TV program, and turn it off again.
That's
and I
awesome.
have found that living in this world where you go into someone's house and they will have the TV on in the background just with whatever is on, I don't get it, and I don't understand it. So I don't watch any. I think I don't watch any series at the moment, and I'll watch, like, there's a couple of comedy panel shows that are on once a week, and I'll watch them on replay when I get a chance. So like I'm not someone who subscribes to a TV schedule myself.
Do you watch 8 out of 10 Cats? Does count down? What's the kind of quiz shows you watch? I love UK TV.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those, if not all of them. Joe Wilkinson is an interesting character, although Susie Dent does very well.
Oh my God, he is just a coup, right?
Yeah, so there's The Last Leg, which is on Fridays on Channel 4, and it's got basically 2 disabled people.
Oh yeah, with Adam Hills.
Adam Hills, indeed. I was going to say one of whom is Australian.
It's brilliant, right?
And then I watch a lot of John Oliver, who's an American that does Last Week Tonight over in America, but he's a Brit, so his cynicism is right on level. Nice.
He is just dreamy.
Yeah, and then usually nature documentaries or comedy DVDs, because nothing beats Eddie Izzard from the 90s.
You like UK TV is just like premium existence, really. Like I think I've watched most like kind of popular, like, well, definitely not, like I haven't gone into like EastEnders and stuff like that. Like I'm not into serial drama, but like comedy, I am in.
Yeah, no, definitely, particularly Scottish comedy I tend to find is particularly on point.
Ooh.
Or Irish, to be fair. Most of the comedians I watch are Irish or Scottish, but they also swear a lot more and tend to tell it as it is, so I like them.
Like that may be why I'm drawn to that, that whole little island of people, my fellow swearbears.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, you're talking about all this, and again they talk about the structures like patriarchy and things like that, and you're like, yes, you see it and you're saying it out loud on TV. Ha! I love it.
Anyway, you're funny, even better.
Yeah. So I guess my last question, which doesn't really relate to any others, but I'm going to go with it anyway, because why not? Is, do you have any particular ways of deciphering or discerning between projects when you're sort of creativity, or like even like what TV show you're going to watch out of 2? Like, and I know that some of them you can be like, oh, I'm going to do this first, I'm going to put on a list of paper and I'm going to pick the top one. But I'm thinking about particularly, so for myself, I've tried to do things which are almost, if I choose to do this, then I'm saying no to the other option. And I just wondered, in terms of creativity and like how you manage those kind of situations, and any advice on that as well.
Yeah, so basically, like it's not just like about the list of like 1, 2, 3. It's also about like, okay, but what is it? What's the quality I actually need right now? So with a creative project, if it's for my business, is it something that I need to be big money generating? Do I need to be little money generating? Or do I need to do something purely just to fill my creative well? Like, for example, I wrote that erotic romance novella last year just for shits and giggles. And it wasn't a massive moneymaker because it was just a $2 book, but it was fucking fun. It was really fun. And it was such a great project for me to do. So I definitely have to work out like, okay, because my business needs to make money. What's the priority right now? Does it need to be money making, or do I need to fill my creative well? Also, it's kind of like, what are people asking most for right now? Because not particularly from a marketing perspective, but more for I need to feel like I'm on purpose and helping people. So those kinds of questions help me decipher what's the number one at the moment. And even last night, I am tossing up doing a bunch of different new programs at the moment. Couldn't really decide. So I just, sent a little pop quiz to my humans and my mailing list. I was like, can you just tell me what you want? Because then that gives me that drive to actually just do it. That'll be Bonza. So yeah, that's how I roll with that. It's always just asking about, okay, what's the quality I want right now? If it's like TV, what do I want to feel right now? Like what do I need? Because TV often gives you a feeling. So sometimes I need to laugh, sometimes I need to be thoughtful, sometimes I need to like have pretty things in my face, like Anne with an E. Yeah, that's kind of how I create a structure for coming up with an answer.
Makes sense. I'm gonna have to think of all my projects. Like, what genre of TV would you be? What do you make me feel? What do I get out of you? And then I'll do it that way. I love it.
Yeah. And also let's what is the thing, like with all your projects, what is the pressing need right now? Are you needing money? Are you feeling flat and you need some creative inspiration? Like are you just needing to rest and heal? Like those are kind of like my three big driving factors anyway. So okay, what's those three things? Like what's the number one right now?
I think that's great. I love that. Yeah. And thinking about those values and like what do I need right now? Which again, we're not taught to question and ask, and suddenly you realize that you've been sat here and you haven't eaten in 3 hours and you haven't had a sip of drink, and you're like, be in my body and be in this experience, and again, co-creating that life and being present in it and mindful of it all. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Leonie. Do you have anything that you want to say before we wrap things up?
Just say you're a motherfucking zebra. Like you're born to like experience life and have a fucking great time with it, honestly. And I was in this cafe yesterday actually with it was like a chocolateria, but they didn't have much chocolate, which I was devastated about. I was like, false branding. But it was a French guy who was the chef and the owner, and he was really loud and greeted everyone that came into the store, and just like every thought that came in his head just came straight out of his mouth again. Like he was just non-stop talker. And at one point I was the only person in the store, and he came up and he was like, hello, yes, I am very loud, I am crazy, what's they called, cuckoo, but I don't care because life is short, I just have fun, I don't care, crazy, fun. And I was like, I feel you, boo. That is a major mood. That is an absolute major mood. And I just like thought that's kind of how, like exactly how I experience, like want to experience life. It's like, I don't mind if I behave in ways that seem kooky for the rest of the planet, because I'll be the one that's having fun. So therefore I'll be the one that's winning. You know what I mean? Like that's what you want, is you want to enjoy yourself. You want to have a great time. And if you're just trying to pretend to be normal, if you're just trying to like think about what everybody else is thinking about you or whether you'll ever be good enough, like spoiler alert, it's not going to work. So you might as well just have a great time being who you are and enjoying the beautiful, beautiful gift that you've been given with your body and your brain and your life. Like enjoy the shit out of it, because it's such a precious gift.
Couldn't sum it up better myself. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Leonie.
Nailed it.
Hashtag authentic.
Thank you for being a part of my world for so long. I feel so honored, and I love that I get to see your face every month on our. For anyone who doesn't know, we do every single month. All of my students are invited to do like a group coaching call with me, and Katie Rose is always there, and we always have just so much fun.
Yes, I will be leaving links in the show notes / below, depending where you're listening / watching this, to all of Leonie's stuff. And yeah, if you buy any of her courses, then you get invited to her once a month session, which is just the highlight of my month every time.
Oh, babes, it's highlight of my month too. So it's nice. It's real nice.
Fab. Well, thank you very much. I'll let you get back to your day. And
big hugs, my love. I'm sending you so much love across the planet to the land of actual funny TV.
Thanks for listening, and as always, you can find out more at rootedreinvention.com. Take care, remember you are more capable than you often realise, and I'll see you next time. Bye!